Chapter 6. Since Sword and Shield is out for a few months now, I felt it was fitting to make a character appear in this chapter. Also, even though the Galar Pokemon that appears in this chapter is in the Equestria Dex, this story happens before said Pokemon was discovered in the Equestria region. Also, slight sneak peek of Iris's older brother, who I mentioned in Pretty Cure Sword and Shield because I'm also working on that alongside this. Also, Duraluddi is a fan-made pre-evolution of a Mon from the Galar region that is often bred in the village of dragons in Unova by the Draconia family. Also, the makeover was intentional. It's not a word. Also, various Sword and Shield characters will appear throughout the story. I'll mention if they do. If there were actual Pokemon in the My Little Pony Friendship is Magic world of Equestria, it just would not work out, man. I don't know why author is suddenly saying that there are now Pokemon in Equestria. She could have at least gone into more detail about the Pokemon Equestria connection, have lore, world building. But no, we don't get lore and we don't get world building. Also, I like how Duraludon has a pre-evolution now, but author doesn't tell us what it looks like. They arrived in the nearby town. Kaylin, Nagisa, and Hanukkah decided to give their new friends a little makeover, so they took them to the nearby clothing store. About 15 minutes later, Iris and Silent were wearing different clothes. Iris was wearing a tan and pink shirt with long sleeves, with a skirt of the same colors. Her hair was no longer in pigtails, but instead in a braid. Simon was wearing a dark green collared shirt with black pants. He kept his green bow tie on, and decided to let his hair grow a bit and have it in a hair tie. They then went to sleep at an inn after their makeover. The next morning, Nagisa noticed Iris was bright and early. She noticed her wild friend left a note. Nagisa, Kaylin, Hanukkah, Silent, if you see this, I had to answer a call from my brother who's in the Galar region. I'll be back soon. Iris. I wonder what she's up to, though, said Nagisa. I hope she's all right. Meanwhile, with Iris. Come on, big brother. You have to return soon, said Iris. Iris, as much as I love you, Mom, and Dad, said Iris's brother, but there's something I have to do in Galar. I need to defeat my rival and come home as a champion. Right, you don't have to do that, said Iris. Just you and your Duraludon home is enough. If you don't ever come home, I'm gonna start searching for you. Sis, don't, please, said Rai. I'll come home before you know it. Don't worry, sis. If you say so, big brother, said Iris as she hung up. Why is Raihan deciding to be in Galar even longer just to become champion? My brother is just an idiot. She then went to meet up with her friends. Once everyone caught up to where Iris was, they decided to start heading to Nacrene. Nacrene is right next to Striaton. So what is this nearby town the character stopped at? But before leaving the Pokemon Center, Nagi-san noticed someone she hasn't seen before. He also had a Pokemon lying over his shoulder that she never saw before. She checked her Pokedex, but it said there's no info on this Pokemon. But the voice of her Pokedex got the man's attention. So, you're a trainer from outside of Galar, aren't you? Said the man. Yeah, more like not even from this world, said Nagisa. I know that someone was behind me when I heard your Pokedex trying to get info on my Centiskorts, said Kabu. I'm Kabu, the gym leader of the Modestoke Stadium, and you all are... Introductions follow. After Silent introduced himself, Kabu said, Wait a minute, one of the challengers I had back in Galar said he had a sister named Iris. You knew my brother, said Iris. Yeah, he came to battle me during his gym challenge, said Kabu. I remember how strong he was. I was still a new gym leader around that time. My Centiskorch evolved from Sizzlipede during his battle as well. That Duraluddi of his was pretty strong. That's my brother's partner for you, said Iris. Well, I have to go before my train back to Modestoke leaves, said Kabu. Also, Silent, tell your brother Chili that I might want to train him at some point. Kabu then left for the train station, but what he said got Silent thinking. How did Kabu know my brother's name? Said Silent. I don't recall Chili ever leaving Unova for Galar. I only remember him leaving for Hoenn for a vacation. That's weird. If you run into Kabu again, you should ask him, said Kaylin. You're right, said Silent. They left the Pokemon Center to find Kabu trying to fight off Shadow Trio.
"If it isn't the pretty cure," said Shadow Trio, "I'll deal with you in a minute once I figure out what to create a monster from."
She then decided to take Kabu's Heart Flower and make a monster using his Heart Flower and his Centiskorch. She created a Nakiwameke using them. It was a lot like Centiskorch, but it was longer, and the fire X on its face and on the end of its body were longer. "We should transform," said Nagisa. "Right," said Kaylin and Hanukkah. Magical Girl transformation sequence follows. The Cures fought the Nakiwameke. While fighting, Dreadroller Trio realized that they need to be careful fighting it. It is Kabu's Centiskorch they're fighting. Luckily, they managed to free the poor Pokemon and its trainer's Heart Flower. Luckily, Centiskorch wasn't harmed in any way, and it got Kabu free from the orb he was in, and the Cures went back to normal. "What exactly happened?" said Kabu. "Shadow Trio took your Heart Flower and turned your Centiskorch into a monster with it," said Kaylin. "The power of Pretty Cure defeated it, and got you free and your Centiskorch back to normal," said Hanukkah. "Thanks. Luckily he wasn't harmed," said Kabu. "I have to go now." "Kabu, wait!" said Silent. "How did you know my brother Chili?" "Back when I was in Hoenn," said Kabu, "I was training in Jagged Pass by Lava Ridge, my hometown at the time, when I ran into a boy with a Pansear. He introduced me as Prince Chilius of the Guardian of Light. I didn't believe him at first, but he assured me that he was a prince until he showed me his fairy form."
Dude, if I was actually royalty, I'd just waste my life on video games and donuts. Basically what I do right now, but on a much greater scale, you know?
"That's my idiotic younger brother for you," said Silent. "Aren't you and your brothers the same age?" said Hanukkah. "I refer to Chili being my younger brother by the fact that he's a few minutes younger than me. I'm the middle Chirpit, Cress being the oldest, and Chili being the youngest. It's kind of confusing on who's the oldest, because Cress and I are about the same height." "I never knew who was your triplet," said Kabu. "Chili only said he had two brothers, you and Cress, but he never said you three were triplets." "We barely look like brothers, in fact," said Silent. "Only our last name and parents are the same, but us brothers are inseparable when together." "Well, the train back to Galar is about to leave," said Kabu. "Good luck on your journey, Nagisa. And Silent, remember to tell your brother that I want to train him at some point." "Thanks, Kabu. Have a safe trip home," said Nagisa. "I'll tell my brother later on," said Silent. "I'll even tell him I met you." They waved bye to Kabu as he jogged to the train station. Later that evening, Silent decided to talk to his brothers, primarily Chili, about something. When he called, his brunette older brother Cress answered his call. "Silent, why are you calling at this time?" said Cress. "Are you calling saying you want to return home, or do you miss us?" "Actually, I need to talk to Chili if he hasn't fallen asleep yet," said Silent.
"When ain't I sleeping, though?"
"He's in the shower right now. I'll tell him what you want to tell him."
"Actually, I just got done," said Chili. "Silent said he needed to talk to me, right? Let me talk to him."
"Okay, Chili, just don't accidentally hang up this time," said Cress.
"Oh yeah, that was that one time when I was in Hoenn," said Chili as Cress let him talk to their brother. "So, Silent, what do you need to talk to me about?"
"Chili, do you remember running into someone named Kabu 6 years ago?" said Silent.
"Yeah, why? Did you run into him?"
said Chili. "Yeah, he says he's now in Galar and the Motostoke gym leader," said Silent.
"Oh, he's a gym leader like us. Did it show you his Sizzlipede that's quite strong?"
"He said his Sizzlipede evolved into Centiskorch during one of his gym battles against the Challenger," said Silent. "But one thing I need to tell you is that one day Kabu hopes to train you."
"Train me? If he's trying to make me replace him one day, I'd clearly say no," said Chili.
"You may never know, Chili," said Silent. "Maybe he's going to help you become a better fire-type gym leader. Whatever does happen, Cress and I are always here for you."
"Thanks, Sal. I might go visit him for training and come back every few months or weeks. I'll contact you and Cress when I get a chance. I hope someday I'll have my very own fire-type gym." Or days. Yeah, I can't be without voting my bros for longer than a week. Let's face it.
"Good luck, Chili," said Silent before hanging up and going to bed. Kabu has only been the gym leader for 6 years, when we all know that's not true. He's like in his 50s. He's ridiculously experienced and has been at this stuff for a long time.
Jeez, Arthur, stop!